Yo, what's up, everybody? It's J-Rock right here. Today, I'm gonna be hitting you with a movie review. We're gonna be reviewing Mortal Kombat, the 2021 newest release. Um, I have here the info about who the director and so forth is because I forget names sometimes. So here it says director is Simon McQuoid. Not familiar with him. I don't really pay too much attention about who directs movies and so forth until after I watch them, and then I know who that person is. So, anyways, if you're a Mortal Kombat fan, you might get something different out of it than if you're not a Mortal Kombat fan because you might see little tropes or storylines that happen in the video games. Me myself, I played Mortal Kombat 1 back in like in elementary school when it came out, and Mortal Kombat 2 back in like towards the end of elementary school. I've never gotten really past part 2, so I don't really know the storylines, anything past that. I remember Sub-Zero being my favorite character. He was like this assassin, shot ice and whatnot. He was the coolest one to me myself. I always thought he was badass. Then a bunch of other new characters came along and other games that I'm not too familiar with. So that's basically my background on the video game. Now let's talk a little bit about the movie itself. Now the movie starts off with Hideyuki. He's the actor that plays Scorpion. He's with his family, wife and kids. He's going to go get water and whatnot. And he plays Sub-Zero, shows up, and immediately this guy is vicious. He's a ruthless villain. Love him. Loved every minute of him. He really was like one of the top. Him and Kano really stole the show for me. Shang Tsung and these other guys are like the main ones, but really he's the one that carried the movie as far as the villain side. He was like scary when you saw him. Some bad shit is gonna go down every time he comes out. And here he immediately you see him just freeze out Scorpion's family, and you're like, man, like just let him have it. You're sick with it, and obviously Scorpion sees this. The feud between them two starts. They said back in the days. Then we jump forward like hundreds of years or whatever, right? So in this fight, Scorpion dies. Sub-Zero kills him. I think that's what happens in the comic books from what I remember as well. So he comes back to life like years later to vow revenge on him, right? That opening scene was dynamic. The kung fu martial arts fights in it were great. These guys clearly have some martial arts backgrounds and whatnot. Especially the guy Scorpion, the guy that plays Scorpion. I know I've seen him in some other stuff, and he knows his shit. Did a real solid job here. They were really the two characters you felt invested in was Sub-Zero and Scorpion. Story-wise, they carried a lot of the story, even though they didn't have Scorpion didn't have as much camera time because he dies and he don't come back till later, right? So he doesn't have as much camera time, but he still kind of carries the story. What happens with him in the beginning does at least. So in the future, we have this guy named Ko Young. He's a great nephew or something of Scorpion, right? He's a relative. So he's born with this scar of a dragon, the Mortal Kombat logo. Everybody that has that logo has been chosen for this tournament in another realm, right? And it's a battle for Earth, basically. Now, Shang Tsung, he sends Sub-Zero to kind of get rid of everybody that has that scar. So that way, if he kills them before the tournament even starts, he would have no competition, right? So that's kind of like forbidden. You're not allowed to do that. You gotta let warriors battle it out in the battlegrounds, right? But he's kind of taking shortcuts and stuff. Obviously he's not a good guy. He's a shady motherfucker, and Sub-Zero's with it. He's down with that shit. He's like, yeah, that sounds like a real good idea. So, anyways, that's the gist of the storyline in the movie. Now, what did I think of it? I thought the kung fu fight scenes and whatnot were awesome. Loved them. Now, the special effects, we want to see some fatalities. We want to see some brutal shit, right? You got a few fatalities from the video games, so everybody that played the video games or grew up with the first few of them at least, love that. I thought they looked real good. Special effects were solid. I was like, oh, hell yeah, when I saw a few of the fatalities, like, who is it? Liu Kang's with the dragon. He has a dragon when he burns people. You remember that from the video game. That looked awesome. I loved it. And there was a few other ones. I don't want to give all of them away if you haven't watched the movie, but there's some great fatalities. What you show up to this movie for is for the fight scenes, the fatalities, and anything that reminds you of stuff that happened in the video game. Not story-wise, but fight-wise, right? So when you see fatalities or you see moves they do in the video game, you're like, oh, hell yeah, I remember that move or whatnot, right? So you get all that. Personally, I was satisfied as far as that goes. Now, the story-wise and the acting, To me, Sonia was killing me, man. Like her acting was really terrible, in my opinion, for like the first, I would say maybe 30 minutes of the movie. And you kind of saw her as the movie went along, getting more into character, having a better idea of how she wants to deliver the lines or portray Sonya Blade. So you kind of saw her improving. So I'm gonna give her that. She got better. Like she's a lot better towards the end than she was in the opening scenes when she came out. Another thing with that character, I noticed a lot of these actors they got in shape for this movie. Like they looked in pretty good shape, especially that kung fu guy, man. Like he was like Bruce Lee up in that piece. Now Sonya, she came in like kind of out of shape and stuff. I was like, she knows she's gonna be throwing kicks and running around. You think she would have put a little more effort into working out? And in the beginning, I was like, she should have put more effort into working out, and she probably should have put more effort into how she's, practice more and how she's gonna deliver these lines. But in her defense, like I said, she got better as the movie went along. Okay, so then we get introduced to Kano, and in the beginning, the actor was kind of like he was a little, he came off a little try hard to me, but then he really got into his own. Much like Sonya, I said Sonya slightly improved him after like the first scene when they're in this cabin or whatever. Uh, there he was kind of Then he got into this fight with one of the other Mortal Kombat characters, and right there he sold me already. I was like, oh yeah, he's coming off as a badass. And from then on, he really got into his own and just stole the show. Him and Sub Zero were like the two bad motherfuckers in the movie, in my opinion. He was highly entertaining, great actor. He kept the movie live. He kept it live, homie. Like he kept it going. You know what I mean? And there was a character that played Jax. Now I like Jax's story, how he lost his arms, and it shows all that stuff, right? The only thing that I didn't like was he comes in with a mustache, right? The actor has a mustache, and he's supposed to be like a lot older. He's like, yeah, I did like 7 terms in the army and so forth. All right, so if you've done 7 terms in the army, you're gonna be like in your late 40s, early 50s or something like that, right? So I was like, no way, this motherfucker's in his late 40s. This guy's younger than I am. He's like in his late 20s, probably. He's a real young guy. And that's a little bit nitpicking, 'cause I thought he did a real solid job. And it's not that he did anything wrong, it was more the script. Like, why did they make him be older and get an actor that's so young? You know what I mean? Like, just have him play a younger Jax. So that didn't really like affect the movie in any way, in my opinion. Final verdict overall, I would say you know what, I'm gonna grade it like this. We go by story, I give the story like a C minus. The acting like a C plus. The kung fu action A. Special effects A. So there you go, guys. Overall, I would say this is maybe like a 7. I got mostly everything I wanted. There was a few dubs, a few like scenes where I'm like the acting fell short, but I was always pleased with the fight scenes and I was always pleased with the special effects. It was just some of the characters like Raiden was kind of lame. I thought with how powerful he is, I thought he should have done more. But they explain to you in the story how he's forbidden to interfere because he's too powerful, right? And so is Shanks the Sun. They're the top dogs. They're not allowed to really include themselves in the fights. So they at least explained all that. All in all, like I said, I was very entertained with the action scenes, the special effects, a lot of the moves and stuff brought me back to the video game. I was like, I remember these moves. I remember some of this stuff. So it was a little bit nostalgic and it was entertaining. Story wise, I didn't really, honestly, I personally didn't really mind the story. I don't know what they changed or didn't change because, like I said, I don't follow the video games. To me, the story was fine. The acting was the part where sometimes it was questionable. Sometimes I was a little annoyed by it, like, oh. But then, sometimes it was really good. So it was hit and miss with me, depending on the scene and whatnot. All in all, I was happy with it. Is it something I would rewatch? I probably would. It's not something I would buy on DVD, but you're streaming it for free and whatnot. I'll probably watch it again sometime in the future one day. All right, guys. You know what? Thanks for taking some time out of your day to check this video out. If you like what you saw, hit that like button. If you saw the movie yourself, let me know in the comment section what you thought about it. Because this one, a lot of us grew up with this video game, so I'm curious to see everybody's thoughts. And some have more knowledge of these characters than others. So I like to see or hear different perspectives. Let me know in the comment section. And other than that, I'll check you guys out next time.